Elite Barbarians just received one of the most controversial buffs in Clash Royale history, being the single most menacing card on ladder, and being further buffed recently because of their weakness in challenges. Today I bring to you my very basic guide to stopping these beefy boys on both ladder and in challenges. The biggest problem with countering Elite Barbs is the fact that they're mostly going to be higher leveled than your counters due to their rarity being common. In this video I'll give you reliable counters for both even and under leveled. This guide is all about fitting in at least one of these great counters to your deck so that you can have a reliable counter to them always. Melee units are quite reliable due to their general high HP. Knights will work at an even level, holding them off just long enough for the tower to take them down. On ladder you'll probably want something splashy like a Valkyrie or Dark Prince. However, the Knight is easier leveled, so would work on ladder. Range units like archers can shut down Elite Barbs for a good trade, but you'll still take some damage. On ladder you'd be better off using cards like Rascals or Bowler. They're more expensive but a ton more reliable. The most obvious counters are usually big defensive boys like P.E.K.K.A or Mega Knight. These will defend the Elite Barbs at any level because they're a negative trade. However, they get you this big beefy unit back on offense. Cycle cards will work on both ladder and challenges, logging the Elite Barbs, then pulling them across the arena with an ice golem before finally dragging them back to the center of skeletons will result in an easy cycle and a positive trade. However, it does require you to run these free cards, which isn't very easy to just put into every deck. Spells are obviously uncounterable on defense, but the Elite Barbs have very decent HP. Fireball will work if you're leveled enough for a decent trade, however nailing a rocket would be much more efficient to their death. As for buildings, a Tesla does pretty good for a positive trade. Even a bomb tower would work on ladder because of the splash effect. Most spawners such as Furnace will work on an even playing field, and Tombstone will work at pretty much any level because of the skeletons that it spawns. Air cards such as Bats are really efficient, although they won't distract of course. Minion Horde will completely ruin Elite Barbs, but on ladder they're likely to get arrowed or zapped away, so it's really risky. Finally, the best counter to Elite Barbs are definitely Swarms. Skarmies and Gangs will ruin on ladder because they are so level independent. However, these are the easiest to be countered. Obviously, most of these groups will be accounted for within Elite Barb decks. Cards like melee units, the bigger boys and spells can't really be countered, so these would be your safer bets. The ones that are usually countered are going to be your buildings, air cards and swarms as we mentioned before. These are most often done by spells such as Zap, but you can work around this. Using multiple Zap bait cards within a deck enables you to bait out your opponent's Zap, freeing up your Zap bait card on defense. You throw a golden barrel, they zap it, now on the next Elite Barb push, you can defend it easily with a Skarmy. If you don't have space to fit two different Zap bait cards into your deck, then you can instead use a Skarmy as a card that you don't necessarily rely on to defend E-Barbs. Use it to hold them up instead and wait for the zap. Then you can play your next defensive troop because the E-Barbs are then already weakened by that Skarmy. You can even use just like a barb barrel or something here to take them out. Really, Elite Barbs aren't the best of cards, and counting them is all about being fast. You just have to make sure you can get down your defensive plan pretty quickly so it's pulled off, or maybe just have another counter in hand just in case that pesky little zap spell comes in and ruins your defensive plan. I know this video has been a little bit shorter than usual, but countering just a single card doesn't have too much depth I can go into except for theory and examples. The idea of this video was just to give you some pointers as to which cards you might want to squeeze into your ladder decks if Elite Barbs are a large issue for your pushing. If you can't really figure out how to fit any of these cards into your deck, then leave your deck list below and I'll reply with a comment saying how you can switch up your deck to maybe fit in some of these cards so Elite Barbs are less of an issue. Apart from that boys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and peace.